Hi, this is Tara Keffer of The Business of Balance, the place where women, and especially moms, come to find more balanced, joyful, and fulfilled lives through life and career coaching, yoga, and essential oils. This is my weekly video series, and today I'm going to talk about how a person goes about listening to their heart or following their intuition. Because in my coaching and a lot of the writing I've done on my blog or my website, I talk about how, as the coach, it's not my job at all to tell the client what they should do with their life or a decision they're trying to make, but rather I believe that the client has the answers within them, and it's my job as the coach to help draw that out. And that involves helping the client to really kind of clear the mental clutter so that they can listen to their heart, tune inward, and follow their intuition. But I've had a client before say to me, well, I don't know how to listen to my heart. I've never been able to do that. How does a person do that? And it's a valid question because obviously your heart doesn't actually speak to you. So what does that really mean? And what I think of is, I don't know if you've had an experience where you were in the shower, or I've had it happen to me where I was just like cleaning my bathroom, doing something mindless, and the ideas and the thoughts just kind of start to flow when you're able to just kind of clear the mind and let these thoughts shine through. And to me, that is listening to your heart. And the reason that happens a lot in the shower is because when you get up in the morning, things are slower, kind of quieter, and the mind is cleared, and it hasn't had a chance yet to have all the fears and the anxieties and the thoughts kind of start to churn for the day. But it's important to try to create more moments like that throughout the day, rather than just first thing in the morning. And I think some ways to do that are to take a yoga class, practice meditation. Those are some obvious but really effective ways. But if yoga and meditation isn't really your thing, there's other options, like, for example, taking a 15 to 30 minute walk outside in nature. But the catch is that you don't bring your smartphone or other method of distracting yourself if you're going to go for a walk. People tend to be kind of afraid to just sit with their thoughts, or not afraid, but maybe just uncomfortable with the idea of sitting with their thoughts. And I think that's because we have so many distractions around us, like smartphones and computers, and binge watching TV and all that stuff these days in 2016, that people aren't really comfortable just kind of being with their thoughts anymore. And you'll notice a lot of people, even if they're just stopped at a red light for like less than a minute, they automatically reach for their phone to see what's going on in their phone. It's like they can't even sit and just kind of be quiet with their thoughts for like a minute at a red light. And so it involves just kind of training yourself to limit those distractions whenever possible, to allow those thoughts and ideas to shine through. So if you do something like a walk outside, make sure to leave the phone at home. And it's not like you have to be really actively thinking or trying to figure out whatever you're trying to figure out. But if you're out for a walk, just try to focus on being present and just kind of paying attention to the world around you and being tuned in to that, instead of a lot of the time we go through our lives tuned out to everything around us. And just by doing that, you'll probably clear your mind enough to allow the thoughts and ideas to flow and clear that mental clutter so that your heart can, quote unquote, speak to you. And and also just make a point when you have those moments, like at a red light or whenever it is, to resist that urge to automatically grab your phone and try to just practice for a minute or so, just being present with yourself. And one more way I would recommend is finding other moments where you're actively doing something. Like a lot of people say washing the dishes can be a great form of meditation or relaxation, as well as cooking or baking. And but it again means that you're doing those things without being lost in thought or without distracting yourself or having the TV on. But it would be like you're washing the dishes, but focusing on one dish at a time, and what you're doing in the moment, and just being really present. And that is a great form of meditation, and that will clear some of the mental clutter and allow, again, those thoughts and ideas to flow. And so for me personally, I made a big career change last April, and that involved a lot of tuning in and listening to my heart, and then having the guts or the nerve to actually follow through on what my heart was saying to me. But for me, what that looked like was during the week, I would be so busy with my full-time job and 2 kids, and it was just like I was trying to survive each day. And so there wasn't a lot of thinking or listening to my heart going on. But as soon as things slowed down just a little bit on the weekends, I would have like these feelings and ideas pop up. And especially if I had a chance to go to a yoga class or a yoga workshop, something like that, as soon as the class was over and things had quieted down, and I just felt like really mentally clear, I would have this overwhelming feeling like I should be doing something else with my life, and just kind of general, I guess, dissatisfaction really with my career choice and what I was doing, and an overwhelming desire to do something else. And I found myself on the weekends just having this overflow of ideas, creating different business plans. And it wasn't always life coaching. For a while I was contemplating being like a birth doula and combining that with yoga. And for a while it was the coaching thing, but I knew it was something else that I was meant to do. And I think when you are really able to listen to your heart and tune into your intuition, it's almost something that is so powerful that it just keeps coming up and coming up, and you can't turn it off. And it's I think especially if it's something major like a career change or what you feel like you should be doing with your life, it's like you almost have no choice but to listen to it. So in my experience, at least, that's what listening to your heart feels like and looks like. And another thing I would suggest, if you have a specific question that you're trying to figure out with your life, or trying to get answered, I would recommend writing your question down on like an index card, and then just kind of tucking that card away and leaving it. And the reason for doing that is by doing that, you've kind of put this question out there, right? Like I did that for my business name when I was trying to come up with my business name. And I learned this when I was going through my life coaching certification class. But so you would write down whatever question you're trying to answer for yourself, your life, your career. And when you actually write it down, it's like you're putting that question out to the universe, so to speak. And but if you spend too much time really actively mulling it over analyzing, overthinking it, the answer is less likely to come, or it's going to take longer. So if you put the question out there and then just kind of leave it And so now you've kind of opened that question up, but you're not overthinking it. You would be surprised how, as you go throughout your day, you have those more quiet moments that you're trying to create for yourself, that you'll notice just kind of signs or things just kind of come to you, whether it's external signs or just kind of internal thoughts and ideas that pop up related to that question that will help you answer it. And I think that could actually be a much more effective way to answer some kind of major life question that you have for yourself than just kind of being really like in your head about it, and just kind of letting the answer come to you in a more natural and slower way. So that's another method for listening to your heart that I have found to be effective. And a couple other quick points that I want to make is that I do really believe that each person has a path that they're kind of meant to be on, and a purpose that they're meant to be on for their life. And I think when you are in tuned inwardly and able to listen to your heart, follow your instinct, that path will speak to you and show itself to you, kind of like what happened to me. It was something that just kept coming up, and I almost, like, I had no choice but to act on it. It was something that I couldn't ignore. And maybe you're already on that path, but if you do feel like there's something more out there for you, I think following these tips that I outlined to clear the mental clutter and allow kind of your heart to speak to you, I really believe that can tell you what your purpose is and what you're meant to do. And once you act on that, I think that the universe will actually open a lot of doors, and you'll be supported in what you're trying to do when you are following the path that you're meant to be on. And that's not to say that everything's always going to be easy and just kind of come without any problems. And that brings me to my last topic is if you act on what you believe your heart is telling you you should do, whether it's for a career or some other major life decision, and it doesn't work out right away, don't necessarily take that as a sign that you made the wrong decision, because most of the really successful people out there that we tend to compare ourselves, especially like me starting a business, and I compare myself to people who have been doing businesses for 20 years. That's not really fair to myself, because I have only been trying to do this for a few months. So a lot of the successful people out there went through a lot of failures first to get where they are. And but if we make a major decision and it's harder than we thought, or we have some bumps in the road along the way, it's easy for fear to crop up and say, oh, you made the wrong decision, you're doing the wrong thing, this isn't what you're meant to do. And basically fear will try to talk you out of your dream. So it's important to be aware that that could happen, and just recognize that that's fear speaking, and you can keep going and push through that fear and really persevere. And that's what you should do if you really strongly believe that you're on the path that you're meant to be on. Now, it could be possible that you did take a leap of faith and it turns out that it's not really the right thing. So how do you know if you made the wrong decision or you are just afraid? And that's a harder question, but I think, again, deep down, if you dig deep, you can answer that question for yourself. And you could also ask yourself, if I knew I wasn't going to fail, would I still be on this path? And if the answer is yes, if I knew in the end is going to succeed, this is 100% what I would want to do, then you need to push through that fear no matter what it's telling you and go for it. If you're not so sure anymore, even if you knew you couldn't fail, if you're just kind of on the fence, like, oh, maybe this wasn't the right decision for me after all, then maybe you need to make a change. So, but a lot of the time, when you listen to your heart and you act on it, you will, in the end, eventually, maybe after some failures, be supported. And if you do have that fear and that doubt crop up along the way, the fear can be a sign that you're doing exactly what you should be doing. And if you're afraid, a lot of the time that's a great thing, because that means you're doing something really big and really meaningful and really important. And if you push through that, you will succeed in the end. So, and really, if you are kind of struggling with what you're meant to do with your life or some major decision like that, again, of course, coaching could always help and can help you get to the answers that you're trying to get to and really just gain clarity. So it is harder to do it all on your own. At the end of the day, you're responsible for your life and your own decision, and you don't want anybody else to write your life story for you, but it does help to have somebody kind of guide you to those decisions and support you along the way. And coaching can also help you when you do figure out what it is you want to do. If it's a major change, like a career change, figure out the best way to go about doing that, especially if you can't be without income during the transition, and coaching can help you work through how to go about that without losing income, for example. And coaching can also help you with the fears that may come up and the internal blocks like self-doubt. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. I know there's a lot in here, so hopefully you found it meaningful and helpful. If you did enjoy it, please leave a comment below and let me know. And as always, I would be grateful if you would share this video with your friends. And don't forget to follow The Business of Balance on Facebook if you don't already. And if you have any questions or comments about this video or coaching or my business, always feel free to reach out to me directly by email at tara@thebusinessofbalance.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.